There comes a moment in every man's life when silence isn't weakness, it's power. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every insult needs your defense. Not every betrayal needs your revenge. Sometimes, you must step back, breathe deep, and let karma do what karma does best. Because the universe is a circle. What you give, comes back. What they do to you, it'll revisit them tenfold. And when you learn this, when you truly live this, you unlock a deeper level of strength. A higher level of maturity. You're not avoiding confrontation. You're choosing to evolve beyond it. There are times when silence is your loudest scream. It echoes louder than your rage. It hits harder than your words. And in those moments, when you feel wronged, betrayed, disrespected, choose discipline. Choose silence. Choose dignity. Let karma handle it. Because she doesn't miss. So here are 7 times when you must stay silent and let the universe do what it was designed to do. When someone lies about you, the instinct to defend yourself, to speak out, to correct the false narrative is overwhelming. It burns inside your chest like fire because you know the truth, and it feels unjust to let the lie breathe. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is stay silent. Not because you're weak, not because you're defeated, but because you understand the weight of your truth and the futility of arguing with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Lies are easy to spread. They travel quickly, infecting minds, twisting perceptions, and painting a version of you that doesn't exist. But here's the truth that few understand: lies are short-lived. They shimmer like gold for a moment, but they tarnish with time. The truth, however, is unshakable. It may be slow. It may take time to surface. But when it does, it stands with undeniable clarity. You don't have to exhaust yourself chasing every whisper, clarifying every distortion, or justifying every step you've taken. That's not your job. Your job is to stay grounded in who you are. People who lie about you are often driven by fear, envy, or a need to shift blame. They don't want to confront their own shortcomings, so they create illusions to make themselves feel better. They distort reality because it's easier than facing it. And if you respond emotionally, if you lash out, if you retaliate, you feed the very narrative they want. You validate their game. But if you stay silent, if you hold your composure, something powerful happens. You rob them of the reaction they seek. You force them to sit with their own dishonesty, and that discomfort will eventually eat at them more than any words you could ever say. Karma doesn't operate on your timeline, but it's always watching. The person who lies about you will have to live with the version of themselves that needs to destroy others just to feel significant. That's a burden you don't want. That's a weight that will eventually crush them. Lies have a strange way of coming back full circle. People begin to notice the patterns. They start to question the storyteller. And in time, those who believe the lie will realize they were misled, not because you yelled the truth louder, but because your silence let it shine. Your energy is sacred. Don't waste it on people who have already shown you they're not interested in truth, only in control. Let your actions, your integrity, your quiet confidence speak for you. Let the results of your life stand as a testimony to your character. In the end, those who matter won't be swayed by rumors. They'll feel your authenticity. And those who chose to believe the worst? They were never truly with you to begin with. Stay silent, not to protect the lie, but to protect your peace. Let the universe handle the rest. Lies may echo for a moment, but truth resonates forever. When someone leaves you without explanation, it's a pain that cuts deeper than most. There are no answers, no warnings, no final conversations, just silence. It feels like the world stops for a moment, like the air gets heavier, like you're left alone to piece together a story with no ending. You search for clues, overthink every word, every glance, every small gesture, hoping something will make sense. But there's nothing. Just absence. Just a void where a person used to be. It's one of the most confusing forms of heartbreak. Not because you miss them, though you do, but because you're haunted by the unknown. Was it something you said? Something you didn't do? Were you not enough? Did they ever care at all? These questions swirl around in your mind, and without answers, the pain lingers longer. But in truth, when someone leaves you without a word, without the courtesy of closure, it says everything about them and nothing about you. Disappearing without explanation is a coward's move. It's the behavior of someone who doesn't know how to face their own emotions, let alone yours. It reflects a lack of maturity, a lack of empathy, and most of all, a lack of respect. You deserved a conversation. You deserved honesty. You deserved an ending that acknowledged your humanity. But instead, they chose silence, and that silence speaks volumes. Still, as much as you want to chase answers, to demand closure, to hear them say why, they won't. Or if they do, it won't be honest. So here's the truth, your closure isn't in their explanation. It's in your decision to let go. It's in your strength to stop rewriting the past and start reclaiming your future. You don't need to understand why they left. You just need to accept that they did and that you're still standing. People don't leave without reason. But sometimes, the reason has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's their fear, their confusion, their inability to handle real connection. And rather than work through it, they run. Rather than speak, they vanish. And rather than face the discomfort of honesty, they leave you holding the weight of their silence. That's not your burden to carry. Karma has a way of catching up to those who disappear without a trace. One day, they'll be the one left with questions. One day, they'll reach out for someone who isn't there. And maybe then, they'll understand the emptiness they once left you with. But by then, you won't be waiting for that moment. You'll have already grown past it. You'll realize that being left without closure gave you something even more powerful, an opportunity to close the chapter yourself. To rebuild yourself stronger. To stop begging for answers and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need them. You didn't lose someone who valued you, you lost someone who didn't know how to. And in the end, their silence was the loudest truth of all. When you're disrespected in public, the sting hits differently. It's not just the words or actions, it's the audience. It's the way your dignity is challenged in front of others, the way your character is tested when eyes are watching, waiting to see how you'll respond. The natural impulse is to strike back, to defend your name, to make it known that you won't be walked over. But sometimes, the greatest strength is restraint. Sometimes, the most powerful reaction is none at all. Public disrespect is often a performance. The person doing it wants a reaction. They want to provoke you, to pull you into the mud with them, to make a scene. Because in that scene, they hope to shift the spotlight away from their own insecurities. They want you to lose your cool so they can appear superior, so they can feel powerful. But when you remain composed, when you look them in the eye and choose not to engage, you take that power away. You become untouchable. People are watching, yes. But what they remember isn't just what was said to you, it's how you responded. Were you rattled? Did you explode? Or did you stand tall, calm, collected? Dignity under pressure is unforgettable. It makes a statement louder than any comeback ever could. Because it shows you don't need to lower yourself to protect your pride. You know who you are, and no amount of public humiliation can shake that. In moments like these, silence isn't submission. It's control. It's confidence. It's a deep understanding that true self-respect doesn't scream, it stands firm. Let them embarrass themselves with their behavior. Let them expose their own character. The crowd may not say anything in the moment, but they notice. They see who lost control. They see who stayed grounded. And over time, the truth always rises above the noise. Holding your composure doesn't mean the disrespect goes unnoticed or unaddressed. It means you're choosing the higher ground in that moment, choosing not to let someone else's weakness drag you down. It doesn't make you soft, it makes you wise. Because anyone can lash out. Anyone can trade insults. But not everyone can stay centered when their ego is challenged in front of others. And while it may feel like you're letting them get away with something, remember this, no one truly gets away with disrespect. Karma may not work on your schedule, but it never forgets. The person who humiliates others in public will one day be humbled, publicly, in ways they never expected. That's not your job to orchestrate. That's the universe's work. Your job is to protect your peace. To keep your integrity intact. To walk away knowing you didn't sacrifice your character just to win an argument. Because that's not a win, it's a trap. And you've evolved beyond those. You're not here to prove yourself in petty battles. You're here to live in truth, and let karma settle the rest. When they use you and then discard you, it feels like your worth was measured by how much you could give, and once you gave enough or too much, they walked away like you never mattered. It's a hollow kind of betrayal. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet, cold, and final. You're left staring at the empty space they left behind, trying to understand how someone could take your kindness, your loyalty, your time, and treat it like a disposable tool once they got what they needed. It hurts because you were real. You gave without games. You showed up when they called. You believed that your effort meant something. But to them, you were only a means to an end. You begin to question yourself. Was I too much? Did I miss the signs? Was my value really so invisible to them? But the truth is, the problem wasn't that you gave, it's that they were never ready to receive anything genuine. Some people aren't built to handle real. They seek out what benefits them, not what builds them. They collect people like resources, and when you've served your purpose, they move on. It's not love. It's convenience disguised as connection. The hardest part is that they often leave without warning. No gratitude. No closure. Just silence. As if all the moments you shared, all the things you did, never existed. That silence can feel more violent than any argument. It's not just the absence of words, it's the absence of acknowledgement. It's their way of erasing you without the dignity of a goodbye. But here's what they don't understand, using someone might get you what you want in the short term, but it leaves a stain on your soul that karma never overlooks. People who treat others as stepping stones eventually fall when they run out of people to stand on. And while you may be hurting now, while you may feel discarded and devalued, the truth is, you're free. Free from someone who was never going to give back what you offered. Free from the cycle of being drained. Free to rebuild without the weight of their selfishness. And rebuild you will. Because pain like this, while brutal, is also revealing. It shows you your strength. It shows you your capacity to love, to care, to be loyal in a world that often isn't. And once you learn the lesson, not to harden your heart, but to protect it, you rise. You stop giving to prove your worth. You start giving from a place of power, not desperation. And you recognize the red flags not as warnings to ignore, but as signs to walk away early. The one who used you will one day remember the ease with which you gave, the warmth you offered, the effort you made. And they'll look for it in others but never find it again. Because what you gave wasn't common. It was rare. And once they realize that, karma will already be delivering your silence back to them louder than any words could. When you're betrayed by someone close, it doesn't just hurt, it shatters something deep inside you. The pain goes beyond disappointment. It's the breaking of a sacred bond, the violation of a trust you thought was unshakable. You didn't see it coming, or maybe you did, but you hoped, even begged within yourself, that you were wrong. Betrayal by a stranger stings. But betrayal by someone you trusted, someone you let into your world, someone who knew your heart, your fears, your past, that pain is paralyzing. It's not just the act that hurts. It's the loss of safety. It's the sudden realization that the person you thought would protect you was actually the one holding the knife. You replay everything. Every conversation. Every laugh. Every vulnerable moment you shared. And the more you think about it, the more surreal it becomes. How could they do this? How could someone so close make a conscious choice to hurt you, to lie to you, to go behind your back? The emotional confusion is overwhelming, and worse, it often comes with self-blame. You wonder if you were blind, too trusting, too naive. But the truth is, love and trust are not weaknesses. You weren't wrong for believing in someone. They were wrong for betraying that belief. What makes betrayal so devastating is that it changes how you see people. Suddenly, the world feels colder. You question everyone's motives. You start to withhold pieces of yourself out of fear that someone else might break you the same way. That kind of emotional fallout doesn't fade easily. It lingers. It echoes in your mind at night. It teaches you to guard your heart, but sometimes too tightly. You begin to build walls, not boundaries. And in protecting yourself, you risk isolating yourself from the very connections that help you heal. But even in the depth of that betrayal, there's a strange kind of clarity. You begin to see people for who they truly are, not who you hoped they would be. You realize that betrayal is never about you. It's a reflection of their character, not your value. Someone who can betray love, loyalty, and truth is someone who is lost in themselves, someone who doesn't yet understand what it means to care deeply and stand by it. And though you may want revenge, though your heart might ache for justice, there is power in walking away with your integrity intact. Karma doesn't miss. The one who betrayed you will eventually come face to face with their own reflection. They will crave the very loyalty they broke, and they won't find it again. Not in the same way. Not with the same purity. You'll grow from this. You'll learn who deserves your energy, and more importantly, who doesn't. And one day, the pain will be replaced by wisdom. Not bitterness, not vengeance, just quiet strength. The kind that comes from surviving something meant to break you and choosing to heal anyway. When they mock your dreams, it cuts deep, not because their words define your potential, but because you hoped they would understand. You wanted support, not ridicule. You wanted encouragement, not sarcasm. And when someone you thought cared about you laughs at your vision, it feels like a betrayal of your belief in yourself. It makes you second-guess everything. Maybe they're right, you think. Maybe it is silly, unrealistic, impossible. That seed of doubt they planted begins to grow, and if you're not careful, it can choke the very thing you were born to do. But here's the truth, people mock what they don't understand. They scoff at what scares them. Your dreams make them uncomfortable, not because there's something wrong with your vision, but because it reminds them of what they gave up on. It exposes their own fear, their own laziness, their own comfort with mediocrity. So rather than elevate with you, they try to drag you back down. It's easier to laugh at someone else's ambition than face the emptiness of your own excuses. People don't mock what they truly believe is impossible. They mock what threatens their illusion of safety. Your determination forces them to confront their own passivity. Your fire makes their silence louder. And instead of admitting they're afraid to leap, they belittle the ones who do. But their mockery isn't prophecy. Their disbelief isn't reality. It's just noise. And dreams are never built on noise, they're built in silence, in sacrifice, in unseen effort when no one's clapping for you. Let them laugh. Let them whisper. Let them call your vision foolish. Because the moment you achieve what they mocked, their laughter will turn into silence. Their doubt will transform into envy. And by then, it won't even matter. Because you'll know that the only opinion that ever truly mattered was your own. Not because you're arrogant, but because you understand something most people don't. Dreams are personal. They're yours. No one else sees the vision like you do. No one else hears the calling in the middle of the night. No one else carries the weight of your purpose. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to prove your dream makes sense to small minds. The ones who mock you now are often the same ones who will ask how you did it later. Stay focused. Stay quiet. Let your results be the rebuttal. Let your success be the echo that answers every insult. Every great dreamer, every innovator, every leader heard the same jeers. And they kept going. Not because they were immune to criticism, but because they had something greater, a vision, a mission, a fire inside that couldn't be put out. You have that same fire. Don't let someone else's fear put it out. Protect it. Nurture it. Fight for it. Because when your dream becomes reality, the ones who mocked it will have no choice but to watch. And by then, you'll be too far ahead to even hear their doubts. When they try to provoke you into drama, it's never really about the moment, it's about control. They want your energy. They want your peace. They want you to break character, to drop your calm so they can feel powerful. They bait you with words, with tone, with little jabs dressed as jokes, hoping you'll snap, hoping you'll react in a way that justifies their chaos. Because for some people, drama is oxygen. It feeds them. It gives them a sense of purpose, a twisted kind of relevance. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled in, wrapped in their dysfunction, forgetting who you were just to win a fight that should have never started. People who crave drama don't want resolution, they want attention. They want to see you unravel. They want to see you lose control because, in their world, whoever yells loudest wins. But that's not power. That's weakness. That's fear disguised as dominance. True strength is in staying unshaken when everything around you is designed to shake you. It's in taking a breath when everything in you wants to retaliate. Because when you react, they win. When you stay calm, you win. Every single time. The provocations can be subtle or loud. Sometimes it's an insult disguised as concern. Other times it's flat-out disrespect in front of others. They'll test your boundaries. Push your buttons. Twist your words. But you have to remember, your energy is currency. Not everyone deserves access to it. Not everyone has earned a response. And silence, when used with intention, is louder than any scream. It shows you're not on the same level, not because you think you're better, but because you refuse to lower yourself just to match their dysfunction. Drama thrives in reaction. It starves in detachment. The more they push and the less you move, the more frustrated they get. They expect fireworks. Give them stillness. They want chaos. Give them indifference. Not as a game, but as a statement. A statement that you choose peace. That your self-respect is not up for negotiation. That your emotional balance is not a toy they can shake for amusement. And here's the irony, when you don't engage, they will often try harder. The insults might increase. The manipulation might intensify. But don't be fooled. That's not strength. That's desperation. They're losing their grip, and they know it. And in their panic, they'll reveal more about themselves than they ever intended. Let them. Observe. Learn. Protect your space. Because not everyone deserves a seat at your table, especially those who come only to overturn it. You're not here to play their game. You're not here to match their instability. You're here to evolve, to elevate, to build a life that isn't dictated by petty battles and emotional traps. Let them spin in their storm while you remain the calm center they can't shake. That's power. That's maturity. That's how you win without even raising your voice. So remember this, silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In a world that constantly tells you to speak up, clap back, and defend yourself at every turn, there's unmatched strength in stepping back and letting the universe do what it does best. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every insult requires your attention. And not every betrayal needs revenge. When you choose silence, you choose peace. You choose power. You choose to rise above the chaos that tries to drag you down. Because karma? Karma never forgets. It's not always instant, but it's always exact. While they plot, provoke, and play games, you grow, evolve, and heal. And that is the ultimate victory. Let karma be your voice when the noise gets too loud. Let your peace be the proof that you've already won. Stay grounded. Stay silent. And let karma speak louder than any words ever could.